All right, Angela. So we're coming into the home stretch, and we promised people a sneak peek ahead. We don't have technology to share with you, and I have to be careful because one of the things you never want to do as a company is get people's hopes up of oh, this is exactly when that's coming or this is coming. But there's been a lot of questions today, a lot of comments. One of the things I wanted to share is that you really should join the community and the feature request area. So I'll show both of these here. This is going to give you the ability to help shape the product, and so we work really hard to let people help influence the product and know what's going on. So for example, once you are a Mylio subscriber, you will get access to our insiders group, and the insiders group is where we share information. So we run surveys and then we read the comments and we talk about it with you. Like right now, you could probably tell we are actively working on making sure we have a NAS application. I don't have a timeline to share, but actively working means people are pushing buttons and writing code. And we're also quantifying the requirements. We sneak peeked that Fetch Originals feature and got a couple of extra pieces of feedback from people. We posted this about a month ago. And so, coming up on 3 weeks ago. The last couple of weeks have been long weeks as we get ready to launch a product. Time flexible, but comments back and forth, people asking questions, pointing things out, and we get feedback. We invited people into a beta for the dedupe tool, and we took that feedback and made the tool better. So we run surveys here. We ask questions. We let people vote, and we can tell what's on your mind and what you're thinking about. So I could tell you, especially when we got a vote like this, and you guys saw some of the amazing search things we're doing today. Heath talked to you a little bit about this already, our user experience designer. We're actively working on taking those incredible search tools and making it so creative people like myself don't have to type and or expressions and asterisks and quote marks and string it. Now, we've got a great help article and in the manual that teaches you how to do this, and it's not hard, but we want it to be easy. And so this helps us understand that, yes, you guys would like the search tools to be better too. So the community is where we engage and we talk about things. And so I posted there about a week ago what we're working on. So for example, I confirmed that the copy paste, the automatic download before sharing, and the editing seconds in the metadata field, all which came from our forum and people voting on features, were done, and that we would be sharing them. And we've taken a survey about computer vision, which is the ability to generate automatic keywords. But one of the things that we learned from your feedback is you'd love the ability to search on those words, but you don't want them automatically added to your keywords fields. So this gives you the chance to vote. Additionally, if you click on over to the forum.mylio.com, this is where there is the feature request category that we mentioned earlier. Here's a good one. Be able to rename the color labels. We have absolutely put that one into the roadmap. It is listed. I don't know when it's coming, but I know that it has resources and it already has a design worked up. So we read through these and we do what we can to bring some of these to life. We can't do them all, and we can't do them all in the order we want, because on a team of engineers and scientists and experts, they all have different skills. And so we have to prioritize what happens what, and what's the order we're putting the pieces in. But we do everything we can to make the best use of the time we have and to keep bringing things to life to make the product better. So some of the things you saw with this release is we focused on making Mylio easier to use. And that meant, as Heath talked about, clearer icons, higher contrast, bigger icons on touch devices, and making it so you can really see, like I could tell that this image needs just one more photo to sync to it. And I didn't even have to go in and dig around. We exposed the sync panel by default. Dion showed you earlier that you could then use that sync panel to control how those pictures are actually syncing to different devices. If I wanted to take that whole folder on the road with me, I could say, oh, be sure to sync all those originals to that drive or that preview folder. So you have total control. So this team is trying really hard to be great listeners. I hope today you enjoyed interacting with us and getting to know some of the folks. Angela, are there any questions or things in the chat pod, not just about the future, but that we should really get through some questions here before we wrap up today's show?
Well, JC's done an amazing job at keeping that Q&A answered and cleared. So there are no open questions there right now. If you guys have any questions that you want to get in before the end of the webinar, please post those now and we'll do our best to address those. And I'm taking a look here through the chat and seeing if there's anything that we missed there. Jay Parrish asked, does this work with Adobe Lightroom Creative Cloud version?
Sure. So the answer is yes, mostly. So Lightroom Creative Cloud version does not give you the ability to publish services back. So they don't support the publish services plugin that I was showing you. But let me show you what I could do there, for example. So let me go back to that China trip, because I know I had some photos there. And actually, I'll go here, Great Falls HDR, okay? So I shot some high dynamic range pictures the other day. I was out at Great Falls Park, which is here outside of DC. And, I shot some pictures, and here's a panorama. I wanted to make a really high quality picture of the view there. Now, what I do when I shoot a panorama is I usually put a picture of my hand in, so I know when one panorama starts and the other one ends. That's my little cheat to know like where these start and end. And I didn't do it consistently here because I've been deleting those over time, but that's a little trick. But I could see that these pictures go together. So again, I could say photo, open with, and I'll choose the new Lightroom, not Lightroom Classic. It's going to launch that tool, and it will, excuse me, just getting over my COVID cough, and it will trigger the module, and then you could import those pictures and bring them in. Now, you may find that you want to hand those off, and it works best with some of those tools with single images, but you can still trigger and send pictures across, and that will allow you to trigger an import. So let me just grab a photo here, and then I'll drag the two windows onto the same screen. 1 second. Let me cancel
While you're
here.
doing that,
Yep.
there have been a few questions that I've been seeing pop up throughout the day, people asking if this is recorded. Yes, this is definitely being recorded. And the videos, I'm going to guess, Rich, are probably going to be available in the community early next week once we have a chance to clean them up and segment them down into a little more manageable chunks.
Yes, we'll be cutting these up into manageable chunks for sure. So what you can do here is you can import from one to the other, and it's going to do the handoff. Now, you can see there, it's doing one after another. So Lightroom, the new Lightroom, doesn't like to do a batch import, right? So it doesn't want to let me hand off. But Mylio just keeps going, excuse me, I have something for you. So it just keeps ringing the doorbell, kind of like when my son's trying to call his sister down for dinner. We have doorbells in my kids' room so they don't scream at each other, right? So there, it found them and it brought them across, right? And I see one that I apparently clicked a little too fast on. So let me just grab the one I missed here. You're seeing both of the screens side by side, right, Angela?
Yep.
Okay. So there we go. I got that. I think I actually got everything with the overlap, but let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Close enough. So I think I got them all over, but let's just assume I did. I can now right click and say that I want to merge those and do the panoramic merge. And Lightroom will analyze these and try to stitch them together into a panorama. And, and then again, when I'm there, it did the merge. I'll say, hey, that's cool. Go ahead and do the boundary warp and fill, and kind of stretch those edges out so that there's no empty areas. That looks good. And I'll click the merge button, and it's going to stitch those together into a new panorama. And then what I would do, because I don't want to lose that, but if you did want to stack it, you could. But in this case, I don't want to stack it with any of the other photos because it's a new picture. It shouldn't be stacked with one of the source brackets. But you could see here, Lightroom is merging that together. So it takes a little bit, but there it is. Great. I'll hit the auto button here and do any things. You see our tools match up. And then again, once you're all done, just click the export button and you could export that back. So they don't let you have publishing services in this one, but you could say, oh, I want to go ahead and export that. There we go. And save it back out. Again, tell it where to go. I just have an empty folder on my hard drive that I made that I added to Mylio as a linked folder. So I can access this from anywhere, or you could save it and re-import it. It's pretty straightforward, but I'll just put it into that inbox. And so there it is. There's my inbox. Export. It's going to analyze. You see it's exporting there, so that will take a little while. But when it's done, it saves the file. Mylio is over here scanning. And if I just go back, we'll see it. And so this is that concept of having everything and all your devices talking to each other. And, it's going to drop that into the inbox here as soon as Mylio finishes scanning. So right now it's scanning my photo library for changes. And when it finds it, it will drop that in. And so that's how those changes work. And as soon as Mylio detects it, it will not only be there, but it will actually sync out to my other devices as well, because all those folders are on each and every device. So this level of communication, interoperability, these are the sorts of things we're working on. And, you saw Aaron sync up instantly because he isn't doing the insanity of managing 25 years of photography. But I've learned that when I'm trying to keep 25 years of photos straight, I'll be patient enough. It'll drop right in there into my inbox with everything else. So anything you have on your computer is going to work with that open with, and that will just, then when you're done, save it back. Angela, was there anything else that we can cover that people were asking?
No, I just want to say I love that inbox hack to do that on a computer or on an external drive. That really solves the problem of trying to dig through folders and find where that photo is supposed to go on those editing apps that don't provide you with the quick save back to the original folder.
Yeah.
And then,
all you do is you just select the picture and right click and say move.
Exactly. I was just going to say that.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, no, you've got it up on the screen.
All right. Well, and I know that this was in my photos library. And we're going to actually make this box even better with search here soon, so you don't have to scroll. But I would just scroll until I get to China, and then I'll just say, put it there. And now it's back in the right folder, and it's actually moved on my hard drive as well. And it's going to pop up in the right place. So, for example, here, I'm going to show this. It actually already updated on my tablet. And so let me just open up that folder here, Photo Library Main. And I will switch which screen I'm sharing, new share. And let me share the iPad. And so give it 1 second to wake up. There we go. And if I go into, I'll launch Mylio. And let me go into that China folder. This is my photo library back on the Mac Studio, the connected drive. And it's synced here locally with the preview copy, main. Let me turn off the airplane mode so those devices actually sync with each other. And so now I'm going to see that things are updating. So if we go down here and we find the China folder, and I'll say, go ahead and sort by date created, what it will be able to do here very soon is actually find those pictures, and it will drop it into the folder. So you could see that sync is happening there. First, it's syncing my calendars, then it will sync the device, but it will just drop it back into the correct location. And on the main computer where I moved it locally, that move was already done. And so we could just go in there, photo library, and I'll come down here to China. And it's going to appear right there and put it right next to the originals. So it will be able to merge that panorama and drop that into the rest of the pictures. So you have that ability to just move the pictures around from one app to the other very seamlessly and drop things in to where they need to go. And so you just use the move tool, like I showed you, and that will let you move things between. So nice and straightforward, and a pretty easy way to do it. So I'm just scanning through here and I'll find it in a second. So cool. What else, Angela?
I think we've covered most of it. There is one last question here that just popped up from Mark.
Yep.
He's been hesitant to link his wife's iPhone with his Mylio library. She has tons of photos and near duplicates. Do we have any suggestions for how to handle a big bolus of photos without polluting his curated library?
Sure. So I would import that into its own folder when you import it. And then later, when you import that whole folder, you have the ability to select it. So let's say I want to have a folder destination. I can come here and say, oh, let's go over and we'll just come right in here. That's good. And there's my drive. So I'll go to the dashboard and I'm going to select my device. And I could just come on down to my hard drive and say that I want to add a folder. So I can navigate there and I could say, other iPhone, right?
Now, if you import it under Apple Photos, it's all going to show up under that Apple Photos folder, but you can do it. You can tell it to show the separate containers. And then if he doesn't want that to say clutter up, if you're on a
PC, Angela, and you plug in the iPhone, it just shows up like a regular camera and you could import it directly too. But if it was on a Mac, then yes, you would just import it. Then watch this. Go to your dashboard, click on library stats, go to recent media additions, and you could see, oh, yesterday I imported those pictures. Boom, there's the whole session. So it doesn't matter that they were from all over different dates. So you could import her entire pictures all at once, select them, and then move them into that other folder out of your Apple Photos thing and have them. Does that make sense? So you just look at your library stats, recent media additions, and find the entire import you did all at once. And oh, where did it come from? It came from wife's iPhone. And you could import that in and then move it to a new folder, grab that new folder that you had, and there's my other iPhone, and you could apply keywords or labels to that entire folder if you want. So you can go in there under info and you could put a keyword that will go in, or a category, or step inside and label them all a color. And then later on, you could filter those or find them that way. But this just gives you a little more control. So that ability to use the dashboard and the recent media additions is a great way to kind of move your stuff around. And I'm going to do that here to do the same thing with my recent media additions there. There's the picture that I edited on the iPad when I sent it to the other app, and recent media additions. There's that other picture I edited when I sent it on the iPad over and made it. So it's got that history of those pictures that you've made. And you could sort here and see just about everything, right? So there's that HDR one I merged. So this keeps track of everything, and it's a great way of seeing your recent files. So you can then go and clean them up and move them around. So I'm just letting that sync happening in the background. Angela, I love these library stats. Like, you can find everything here.
Absolutely. Another iPhone question. This person has 2 iPhones of the same make and model, and they're syncing to Mylio. How can they keep them separate?
Sure. So when you add the phone, remember, you can go to your devices and name your device. So you can name it so that they're not just the same model number or the stock name. Rich's iPhone, Megan's iPhone. And then when you import, again, you can then sort by source, or same thing. So you can go into your folder, like my iPhone, my main, let me go into my Apple Photos folder for that. And then when you apply a filter, you can filter by different things up here, and that works. Or you could do a search, and same thing. So this will let you filter by different things, and you would just filter by camera, and you could do that. And then within it, you could do a custom one, and you would literally just do a custom filter by the name of the phone, wife. So I could say, show me only things from this, and then show me ones that have the word wife on it, and it will find it from the metadata of the source of being wife's iPhone or husband's iPhone.
Rich, you can also show the containers within the Apple Photos library, and they'll separate the two different phones.
Yes,
that's in the more menu.
But if they've connected them and they're not using the same iCloud account, what's going to happen? That won't work, right?
No, there'll be two separate folders anyway.
Okay,
that would be even better.
So there you go. We've got different devices here that I've imported from as well. So it depends on what your goal is. If you want them to not intermingle, but you just want to back them up, I would go the route that I talked about of, importing and then moving them. But if you want to keep them coexisting and merged together and know that you could split them, what JC's talking about is that ability there to show media and unify it. And I showed that trick earlier for my Facebook imports. So instead of seeing everything from Facebook in one giant library like this, I could split it apart into albums or merge it back together into a unified view. And that's under the More menu up here in the right corner.
Perfect.
All right.
One last question. Mark asks, is there a goal with Mylio of replacing Lightroom?
So the world is filled with beautiful tools. Mylio's only goal is to be the best tool at giving you constant access to your photos on all your devices at all times, while providing incredible backup tools and incredible search tools. And we want to play well with every other product. Having a business model of destroying another product or trying to take another product's place is a bad business model. So Adobe makes fantastic tools. Angela and I both used to work over at Skylum, and we worked on tools like Luminar and Aurora together there. We use those with Mylio all the time because I like those tools. I help make them. I like them. Nobody wants to think anything ill of any other tool. That's why we have our photo open with menu, so you can go to anything you want. But I can tell you that this is the first time in my entire life that I've been able to walk around and have 450,000 photos on my iPad, constantly accessible, searchable in a raw format with, performance and speed. Let me just take 2 fingers off there, to be able to fly through and find all my pictures, whatever I want on the device like that, or to know that I could be anywhere in the world and a client can call, or I have a memory, or I'm out to dinner with a friend and I want to pull up a picture, that every picture fits on here. On here, I don't put all the smart previews. I just put the catalog, and those 10 terabytes of photos take up only 10 gigabytes on my phone because it's just a thumbnail and the catalog. But you could use our auto optimize features or anything else. So Mylio's secret sauce is the ability to sync and backup. And then we combine that with incredible search tools that are only going to get more incredible. But we have no desire for ill or harm to any other editing tool. And we don't want you to have to change your workflow. So our goal is improve your workflow, not change your workflow. And that's why we work with everything else. So it's a lot easier. It's called a Red Sea battle versus a Blue Sea battle. So it's beautiful, it's sunny, and all we're doing is trying to get to this great destination. And along the way, hopefully we'll make new friends because we work with everything.
Perfect.
Cool. Well, guys, thank you for coming out and celebrating our launch day with us. We will have these videos posted. What you could do that would be awesome is please, and I mean this sincerely, tell 5 other people about Mylio. We're a new product. We've worked hard on this. Some of you have been with us for a long time, but we relaunched Mylio Photos yesterday. Mylio Photos is our big, bold step into making this broader and more accessible and part of the bigger vision. We've got tons of great things in the works. And as you work with us in our community, you'll see that, and we'll be sharing information. But we highly encourage you to start telling other folks about us. We'd really appreciate it. Our goal here is to be the best solution for making your photos always accessible, constantly backed up safely, and let you enjoy your photography wherever you are. And that means finding your pictures, sharing your pictures, and creating with your pictures. So thank you all so much for coming out and hanging out with us here, for some of you for 4 hours. So it was great to see you all.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. It's been awesome.
Bye-bye.